In this tutorial, we are going to learn how to tackle high CPU usage cases. Before diving into details, we should know the basic sanity checks to start looking into high CPU cases. First basic sanity check is: check CPU usage for last minute, 5 minutes and 15 minutes. This will tell you if the CPU usage problem is persistent or just event-based. The HTOP course covers how to part already. Second is: know the server size and its CPU cores. The HTOP course covers how to part already. Third is: know which user is consuming most of the CPU, either it is system user or application user. The HTOP course covers how to part already. Last one is: know which service is consuming the CPU cores, either FPM or MySQL. The HTOP course covers how to part already. There are some well-known reasons behind high CPU usage, which are: first is attack on the application. Second is high rate of bot crawling. Third is images being served via Apache web server in high number. Fourth is badly coded PHP plugins. Fifth is disabled caching. Sixth is recurring cache warm-up calls. Seventh is badly set up crons. Eighth is high server response time, that is known as high TTFB. Ninth is MySQL causing high CPU consumption. 10th is WP-admin AJAX. In this segment, we will learn how to check if website is under attack. We can trace attack by bisecting Apache access logs. For example, by bisecting Apache access logs to look into IPs of visitors, we get this output that is appearing on the screen. We need to check all these IPs via Abuse IPDB tool to know the confidence of abuse against these IPs. Also, check either IP belongs to any ISP or data center. There are few proved myths. Let's take a look at the first one. Fist myth says: if usage type is equals to data center or if it is unknown, and confidence of abuse is greater or equal than 0%, and visitor's IP is not same as Cloudways server IP, then you can count it as an attack. Now coming on the second myth, which says: if usage type is not equals to data center or if it is not unknown, and confidence of abuse is greater or equal than 10%, and visitor's IP is not same as Cloudways server IP, then you can count it as an attack as well. The third myth is quite tricky one. I would suggest to pause the video and read and listen to it carefully. Monitor URLs with respect to GET and POST requests methods. The proved myth is: if user A has n number of GET requests on wplogin.php, which means he accessed wplogin.php n times. User A has high number of POST requests on wplogin.php, which means he edited things on WP dashboard n times. Please note that successful login generates POST request. So we can say that user A is a developer and doing development stuff on WP admin dashboard. So, user is legit. But if user A has n number of GET requests on wplogin.php, which means he accessed wplogin.php n times. User A has no POST request on wplogin.php, which means he is not able to access the dashboard. So we can say that user A is not a legit user, because he has tried to access wplogin.php n number of times but couldn't get success to dashboard. In this segment, we will look into how to deal with higher rate of bot crawling. By looking at the top 5 IPs, you may find IPs of bad bots, but to be more certain, we need to bisect and sort user agents from access logs. This way, you can assure that if your site is being crawled excessively by good or bad bots. High rate of Google bot crawling even may lead to high CPU usage as well. If we talk about solutions, so it would be: inform and consult with customer accordingly. Crawling rate can be controlled by robots.txt file. Ask customer to use any web application firewall like Cloudflare, etc. This segment is going to tell about what happens when Apache starts serving images. Let's get into it. By bisecting Apache access logs, if you see URLs of images in high number, then consider it serious, because images should be served through Nginx and should not be logged by Apache. It happens when any plugin of website generates image URL on runtime, so Nginx does not find it because plugin uses PHP functionality to generate new images URLs every time. Remember, the rule inside Nginx virtual host file says if there is 404 error for any static content, pass it to Apache as shown in the screenshot below. If we talk about solution, so it would be either to ask customer to stop this functionality by disabling plugin, or to use any CDN service. It's a bitter truth that WordPress plugins causes sluggishness and high CPU usage. So in this segment, we are going to discuss how to retrieve sluggish plugins easily. Since we all know that PHP slow logs help us in finding plugins which takes more resources and are sluggish in terms of execution. So, sharing badly coded plugin names with customer will help and will showcase yourself as helpful in front of customer. To retrieve slow plugins, we will need to bisect PHP slow logs. For example, if we bisect, we will get this sort of output. In this example, we can see that function curl_execute of gtranslate plugin is so slow. Just simply share it with the customer. This segment will tell you the impact of WP cron on server CPU. So let's get into it. WordPress cron runs as users access your website each time. WP cron manages all the scheduled tasks on your WordPress. This task will give pressure on server resources. To solve this issue, either you can disable the WordPress cron or schedule the cron job, which runs every hour. It can be disabled by adding or modifying the line as depicted on screen in wp-config.php. We suggest setting the cron to run via server as the HTTP request, which is the most feasible way. So try rewriting your cron as appearing on the screen.